before I actually start talking.
I can see your screen there, Lexi. Yeah.
Spotlight. There we go. Okay, so this is a nice picture of our building here. We're located right along the St. Lawrence River on the St. Lawrence College campus. There we go. Here's a slide that's a little bit about me. So my name is Lexi. I'm an educator at the River Institute, and a few of these pictures just talk about my background. So the top picture on the left and then this picture over here are from when I was studying in New Brunswick. I am a marine biologist, and I spent a while working on a whale watching boat. And then this one down here is me with lots of different geological samples, because I also studied geology when I was in school. And then this one is me doing an in-person program very similar to the one we're going to do today.
Hi, so I'm Emily. I'm also a biologist and educator at the Institute. And these are some photos of me last summer, as you can probably tell because of my mask. Believe me when I say that I was smiling in all these photos. I love to be outside, and specifically I like to work with fish. So in all these photos, I was doing something to do with fish out in the field. So I'm looking forward to another season, hopefully this summer.
Yeah. We're not going to do that.
So yeah, today we're going to look at aquatic invertebrate ecology. So we're going to look at a bunch of different invertebrates. So these are things that lack a backbone. Okay, so they don't have this structure in their back like you and I. And the definition of aquatic is something that is relating to water. Okay, so that means that all of these organisms we're going to talk about today live in the water. Okay, so what is an insect? So an insect, there's one on the screen here. If anyone would like to go on the mic and let us know which one they think it is, awesome. If not, that's okay. So the insect on the screen would be the ladybug up in the top right. On the bottom left would be an arachnid. Okay, so we'll go through the defining features of an insect. So number one, they always have a head, usually with antennae. Number two, they always have a thorax with legs attached, and there's always 3 pairs of legs, so 6 legs total. And finally, they always have an abdomen. So this is a terrestrial insect, as this is an ant. We're going to do a little quiz. We're going to look at a bunch of these 4 organisms, come close up, and kind of talk about whether or not they're invertebrates or vertebrates, so whether they have a backbone or not. So this is a yellow perch. If anyone would like to tell us if it has a backbone or not, so if it is a vertebrate or an invertebrate, that's awesome. I'll give you guys just a second here. So the yellow perch is a very common fish here in the St. Lawrence, and it's highly sought after as a food item. So you ever heard of Lancaster perch, that kind of thing, and it's really good perch rolls. And they are a vertebrate, so they do have a backbone. Next, we have a damselfly. So if you go flying around the marsh in the summertime on hot days, and they are invertebrates, so they do not have a backbone. Now we have an earthworm, and they are all over in the ground, but a fun fact is that they're actually not native to North America. They're technically invasive. They've just been here for a very long time. So they are an invertebrate. They do not have a backbone. And finally, we have a snake. Commonly, people think that these are invertebrates because of how flexible they are. However, they are vertebrates. Let's take a look at this visual column. So they are basically one big vertebrae. So they have lots of bone structure. All right, so going back to aquatic invertebrates, now that we know what an invertebrate is, where do you think we can find them? We'll go through a little quiz and we'll let you know. So here's a nice little water body. Do you think that there are invertebrates to be found here? Absolutely. So it can be found here for sure. And this looks like maybe a marsh or a fen. Do you think that they could be found here? Yes, for sure. Maybe different types. What about the big blue sea? So yes, invertebrates can be found here as well. Invertebrates or aquatic invertebrates can be found absolutely anywhere where there's water, even in a puddle. Okay, so anywhere you go, you can find them. Anytime you probably even touch them. It's kind of fun to think about that way. All right. So, why do you think it is that people like us at the River Institute study them so much? Why do you think it's so important? This is because they are at the bottom of the food chain. So they are food for other things. Okay. So if they didn't exist, fish could not survive as they prey on them. And then bigger fish prey on the smaller fish that eat the invertebrates. As well, aquatic invertebrates are bioindicators. So they are indicators of pollution. So on the left hand of your screen, you'll see a mayfly larvae. And it's telling us that it prefers to live in places without any pollution. So it's a very sensitive species. On the right side of the screen, we have a amphipod or a side swimmer, and he lives everywhere. So he's a lot more tolerable. So whenever you're sampling and you don't catch any mayflies, there's probably a good indicator that there may be pollution in that water. Okay. Whereas if you find an amphipod, you'll say, "Well, it's just a normal environment. We don't really know if there's pollution here or not. We'll catch some more things." Okay. So, does anyone know how we sample them? So we have to catch them somehow. How do you think that is? Any ideas? No? That's okay. So we'll look at how we can sample them together. So we use this net. It is in the shape of a letter, which gives away its name. So this is a D net. Thank you, Lexi, for outlining it for me. So it is a D net, yes, and it has a very small mesh so that the inverts can't get out once you catch them. This is an example of the kick and sweep method that we use to sample them. So the person kicks up the sediment around them so that the things are dislodged from the bottom and floating around so that the net can catch them. The net isn't scraping the ground, it's just above the bottom. And there we go. There's probably a lot more in that net than we care to know. They're very small.
All right, so I'll just switch over to my microscope now so we can look at some specimens under the microscope. If I can find where under the microscope is. There.
Ah, I see one.
Okay. Do you want to go through the questions of the key, even though we're not going to have the key up?
For sure. Let me go get mine up. That's okay.
Well, so we can do the first one is whether or not this organism has obvious legs or not. If anybody wants to pop in the chat.
So yes, this invertebrate has obvious legs. Oh, someone says a tick.
It does look like a tick. This is a hydracnidia, so an aquatic species of arachnid. And I haven't been able to ID to species because hydracnids are really hard to ID to species. But the first couple of times we saw these guys, we also did think that they were ticks, but they are an aquatic species. And you can tell that they are arachnids and not insects because of the number of legs. So we talked earlier about how insects have 6 legs and 3 body parts, and you can see that this has kind of just like a head and then a body behind it. I'm doing a very good job of pointing. So the head over here, and then the body over here. So that's 2 body parts, 2 main body parts, and then 8 legs, so 4 pairs of legs. So definitely not an insect. We'll do another one. I'll let you talk a little bit about this one, Em. Well, maybe zoom out.
I'm excited. I don't know what to expect. Oh, yes. Okay, so we all have probably heard of these guys. Do you want to go through the key, or do you just want to talk about the specimen? What do you think, Lexi?
We can go through the key for this one.
Yeah. So you guys think that this specimen has any obvious legs?
No.
No, so it does not have any obvious legs, that's for sure. Okay, and that brings us to, does it have a shell or not? So do you see a shell on this guy from what you can tell?
No.
No, not absolutely. So, is the body segmented? So do you see any sections, or is it nice and smooth like a tube from what you can see?
Sections.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is segmented for sure. So that brings us to whether or not it has an obvious head or not. So can we see a head, or what we think might be a head here? What do we think?
Not really.
Not really. Yeah, so there is no obvious head on this guy. So that brings us to two options. So it can either be an aquatic earthworm or a leaf. And the way you can tell is if it whether it looks earthworm-like, so it's long, slender, and wiggly, or if it has suckers on both ends. With this, what do you guys think it is?
A leech with suckers on both ends.
Absolutely. So this is a leech. And they're really cool. A lot of people think they're spooky, but they're really neat. They're parasites, and they can latch on really, really well to their host. So if they didn't have a host, they would not survive very well. They can be really, really small or really, really big. So I've seen some really big ones on snapping turtles. Poor turtles can't get them off. And the proper way to actually remove a leech is not to use salt, like they say, like the old-fashioned saying goes. It's actually to use like a credit card or something, kind of with like a little edge on it, and you have to kind of scrape it off. And this is because if you use salt, typically it will shock the leech, and it will spit bacteria back into like the hole that they made in your skin, and that could cause infection and stuff like that. So you just want to avoid that. Okay. Usually smaller ones are easy to get off, though. I've flipped them off before. And
I
what
don't think I can fit the whole thing under the microscope. He wants to face this way.
It's a friend. Okay. So this is another one viewers might be familiar with. You'll see them in rocky habitats typically, and they can swim really fast. So, from what you can see, do you guys believe that this organism has obvious legs?
Yes.
For sure. Now, how many pairs of legs do we see? Do we think it has 3 pairs of legs, 4 pairs of legs, or more than 4 pairs of legs? Maybe hard to tell.
I think I'm only seeing 3 pairs of legs from my point of view.
Yeah. It's not the best view. However, there are more than 4 pairs of legs. So, there we go. Lex is going to kind of show us.
I'm trying to see if there's a better angle from the other side, but there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4 joints at the top along this side, and the other ones are hidden. And some of them broke off, so you can see.
There we go. Question. Ah. So yeah, now that we know that it has more than 4 pairs of legs, we can bring it down to 3 different organisms. So to begin, do we think that this organism has a flattened body? Either pressed towards the ground or on its side. Pressed towards the ground, you could say.
Side pressed.
So it does look side pressed like in this view. However, it is actually not pressed in any direction. So do you guys believe that this is a lobster leg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it looks similar to them.
So if you could see the key right now, you'd see that the last option was a crayfish. That was lobster leg. So these are like the little lobsters of the St. Lawrence River. They're our version of lobsters. They're just much smaller. And they're very quick. And we have an invasive crayfish here in the St. Lawrence called the rusty crayfish. Crayfish are very difficult to identify. It takes a lot of practice and a good key to be able to identify them for sure. But yeah, if you see something with like a rusty color, it's good to look it up, maybe on an app or bring a book along when you're out in the water. And what have we here? Okay, so we'll go through this one together. We can start looking at the legs. How many legs does this organism have?
6.
Yes, I believe so. Right, Lexi?
Yep. 6 legs,
Okay.
3 pairs.
Perfect. So it has 3 pairs of legs. So does it have 2 pairs of wings or no wings? From what we can see.
It looks like it has a pair of wings that are just folded in.
Yeah, so it has 2 pairs of wings for sure. So now we need to figure out whether or not the wings form like an X shape over the back or if the wings are straight along the side. And that will let us know which organism we are looking at. So from what we can see, are the wings crossing each other or not? So Lexi's going to kind of try to show us. If we were
Yes.
using each a microscope up close, it would be a little bit easier.
It looks like an X.
Looks like an X? Yeah, so this is a true bug.
And so the feature that we're looking for with these guys, that X shape, is what separates the true bugs from the beetles. So a bug is actually a very specific type of insect. I find a lot of people just generally refer to insects as bugs, but they're actually this specific group that has 2 pairs of soft wings, and they form that X shape across the back. And beetles have 1 pair of soft wings and another pair of hard wings on the outside that cover the soft ones. So they form that straight seam down the back when the hard wings are closed over top of the soft ones. And that's how you tell these guys from a beetle.
Are you able to spread out the wings for that one, or will it like break it?
I can try. I don't know that I have the right tools for it. So you can see
Oh, there
the,
it is.
the outside one there. And that one there. I can't really spread them any more than that. I don't think it'll break if I try and spread them apart, but you can see the individual ones like this.
It's interesting. You're brave for using your finger to hold it down.
You get very
Been
into
dead
it.
for a long time. Let's try this guy.
It's just like leeches. We got over our fear of leeches after wearing shorts in mucky water for hours on end. Ah, okay. So we can start looking at the legs on this fellow.
Trying to find a good angle. Is that better? sort of.
So can anyone see how many legs that this fellow has? I won't ask if there's obvious legs because I know that you guys we've had practice now.
Looks like it only has 2 pairs of legs, I think.
Yeah, from this angle, it does look like only 2. However, there are 3 pairs of legs.
And sometimes when these guys are alive and moving around, these sorts of like little filaments that you see along the side here often also look like legs. So sometimes this looks like it has like way more than 4 pairs of legs. But yeah, we are 3. If I can, there's one under there, and then one there, and then this one there. All right, what's the next question now? I don't have the key in front of me.
All right. So, does our organism have wings or no wings?
No wings.
No wings, yes, for sure. Which brings us to tails. Does it have tails or no tails? Or tails? You can just if there's a presence of a tail or no tail.
I see a curled little tail.
Yeah, so it definitely has a little tail friend. All right, so now, do you think that it has 3 tails, 2 tails, 2 long tails that is, or 1 tail / hook?
1 tail / hook.
Absolutely. So this is an alderfly larvae or megaloptera.
Oh, that's
So-
a kind of better angle there.
So often we get those guys on a jar. They're pretty scary looking.
The adults are super huge.
Yes, shockingly so. And they often kind of get mistaken. They kind of look like the caddisfly larvae with their 3 legs in the front, but they are the alderfly.
Can they bite or like hurt anything with all those little like spikes on the side or their end tail or anything?
No, so these are like really soft. Maybe I can demo with my finger again. On the side, like they're super duper soft and flexible, so those don't really do anything at all. I'm not sure if the bigger ones bite because these guys have like really big like mandibles when they get like larger. But that's a better question. I should ask Brian if they bite or not.
I didn't want the adult one to land on me.
The ones that I do know that bite and like have a really hard bite and you want to avoid. So there's another species of true bug called the giant water bug, and people get them in like their pools a lot, and they're like up to this big. My mom got bit by one time when we used to have a pool, and her whole thumb swelled up for like 2 weeks. The bites are super bad.
I also was bit by one once. It was I was younger and I was surprised when I saw what had bit me.
Oh my goodness.
They like change colors too, right? Like I've seen them in the water, they're black, and then whenever they get out of the water, they're white.
Oh, I've never seen that before. That's cool.
That is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, whenever in my pool, I try to catch them and they'd be black in the pool, and then I'd catch them with the net and they'd flip over and like be white and just stay white in the air or outside.
No way.
Wow,
I need to look this up.
that's super neat.
Another thing that bites is the no-see-ums. So we always say that you can't see them and they sneak up on you. They're like those little sticky guys. So they're like the chironomids, but they're just small and sticky.
Yeah, the adults bite, but the larvae are super cool. We like to see them because when they're like moving around in the dish, the way that they swim is really unique, and it's really interesting. Do you guys have any more questions before we head out today? I think we were just half an hour today.
Yeah. I don't think there's any more questions. So thank you very much for that second awesome presentation.
Thanks for having us again. We hope you enjoyed our new specimens. I tried to grab a couple of different things than yesterday.
We did enjoy that.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Thank you for showing it. And yeah, just crazy how you can just touch it with your fingers. They're really scary looking.
Yeah, we like them. Inverts are our fave. That and fish. Cool.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.